Have you ever wondered what would happen if you could just talk an application into existence? I mean, forget all the complex commands, forget the endless configuration files. Today, we're diving deep into Replit AI, a platform that's literally turning software development from this monologue you have with a machine into a real dynamic conversation. So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll look at what this new kind of coding actually feels like. Then we'll meet the two AI minds behind it all, the architect and the assistant. We're going to follow the process from a simple idea all the way to a live app, and we'll even get into the art of giving these AIs clear directions. Finally, we'll see what this all means for the developer's new role as, well, a director.
All right, let's start with the big picture. Replit AI is really built on this fundamental shift in how we think about creating software. It's all about moving away from rigid instructions and into a much more natural, conversational flow. And that really brings us to the central question Replit AI is asking. What if you didn't need to know the exact syntax for every single little step? What if you could just state your high-level goal, your vibe, and have an AI partner just translate that into a working application? I mean, think about the old way of doing things, right? You've got your code editor over here, a terminal over there, a whole separate tool for your database, another one for testing, and then another one for deployment. It's this constant context switching that just grinds the creative process to a halt. Replit's whole goal is to fix that by bringing everything into one place.
And this leads us to their core philosophy, which they call vibe coding. The whole point here is to make development more accessible. It's about empowering anyone with a good idea, doesn't matter if you're a veteran engineer or a product manager, to build and launch software just by describing what you want in plain English. Okay, so how does Replit actually pull off this conversational vibe? Well, the secret isn't just one single giant AI. Instead, it's a partnership between two specialized AIs, and they each play a very different role. And this setup is totally intentional. It's made to mirror how we naturally think about building software anyway. You've got the high-level, big-picture strategy, and then you've got the low-level, down-in-the-weeds work of actually writing the code. Replit has an AI for each of those modes. So it kind of breaks down like this. On one hand, you have the application architect. Think of this as your general contractor. It designs and builds the entire house from the blueprint. And then you have the in-editor pair programmer. This is your partner on the ground, helping you furnish the rooms, fix any leaky pipes, and make sense of all the wiring. This table really makes their different jobs super clear. The agent is all about that big picture creation. You talk to it in a separate chat to build a whole new app based on a high-level plan. The assistant, on the other hand, is for the details. It lives right inside your code editor, ready to help you debug a tricky function or refactor the code that's literally right in front of you. It's the difference between planning the whole skyscraper and perfecting a single window. All right, let's switch over to the practical side of things and see how this all comes together. We're going to walk through the actual workflow of using the Replit agent to take a simple idea and turn it into a fully deployed application. So the agent works in this really clear 5-step loop. It all starts with your idea, your prompt. The agent takes that and turns it into a formal plan. Once you give it the green light, it just builds the app automatically. And from there, it's a cycle of refining and iterating over and over until you're ready to deploy it to the world with just one click. Now, that plan and approve step, that is a mandatory checkpoint and is absolutely key to the whole process. Before a single line of code gets written, the AI presents its blueprint to you. This puts you firmly in the driver's seat, in the role of a project manager. You get to validate the architecture and make sure you are always in control of where the project is headed. This whole workflow is backed by a really powerful feature called the checkpoint system. After each task the agent completes, it saves a perfect snapshot of your project. So if you try something and it doesn't quite work out, you can instantly roll everything back, not just the files, but the database too. It's a safety net that really encourages you to just experiment without fear. So we've seen what the AI is capable of, but here's the catch. The quality of its work depends completely on the quality of our instructions. And that brings us to the real art of writing a good prompt. I think a great way to think about it is to treat the AI not like some all-knowing oracle, but more like an incredibly fast junior developer. It takes everything you say completely literally, and it has absolutely no context that you don't give it. So if you want the best results, you need to give it clear, precise, and totally unambiguous instructions. So, what does that look like in practice? Well, instead of just saying, make a blog, get specific. Create a blog with a homepage, an about page, and a contact form. If the task is complex, break it down. Ask for the database schema first, then the API routes. It also helps to provide concrete examples, maybe even a little snippet of code for how you want the authentication to work. And finally, use commands. Implement the user login function, not just a vague, "I'm having trouble with user logins." Instruct, don't just describe.
Okay, let's pull back for a second and think about what this all means for the role of the developer. If the AI is doing more and more of the hands-on coding, what's left for the human to do? The way things are shaking out, it looks like an 80-20 split. The AI is fantastic at accelerating that 80% of development work that's pretty common and well understood. Setting up servers, building user authentication, creating basic interfaces. This frees up us humans to focus our energy on that 20%, that is the unique, innovative, high-value core of the application. Now, it is so important to stress that this doesn't replace the developer. In fact, human oversight becomes more critical than ever. Your expertise is what's needed to review, test, and validate everything the AI does. You become the architect, you become the security expert, and you are the final quality control. The AI is an incredibly powerful tool, but you are still the director. So as we wrap this up, this is the real question I want to leave you with. As these unbelievably powerful AI tools take over more of the tedious, boilerplate coding, it frees up our most valuable resource, human creativity. So the question isn't whether AI will write code. The real question is, when AI handles the code, what truly difficult, meaningful problem will you choose to solve?